What are we talking about?
Sit the heck down. It's how to sit the heck down with Evan and Seppi.
You'd be the worst at that, actually.
If you're new to Summoner's War, then odds are you probably know what monsters you should keep or even actively seek out. But something that we rarely talk about on this channel is what LD 3 stars new players should save.
That's very useful information, and we got that for you today.
Welcome to the top 10 LD monsters new players should save.
At number 10, Thrain, the Dark Grim Reaper. He's here because of TOA. Why is he so good in TOA?
Because he has non-hitting dots on his
second skill
and a selective stun on his
third skill.
What more could you want for TOA?
How selective it is? Very selective, but still useful. And if he kills with his first skill, he gets an extra turn. We all love imbued violence.
I don't think I've read his first skill.
You don't have the monster ID.
Number 9 is Basalt, the Dark Battle Mammoth.
We're staying in TOA. He'll bring you Provoke, AOE attack bar reduction, and defense buff.
You may recognize Basalt from such roles as that time that we recommended you use him for the Acroma floor, if you don't have Garo.
You can always bring a very tanky Vero to tank the Acromas, or even the Dark Battle Mammoth. At number 8, we have Spectra's best friend, One Hack. He not only slows, but if a target's slowed, he has a guaranteed stun. So if you speed tune a Spectra, to him, you basically have AoE stuns for days. He also has self-sustain, and he can stun more. What are you talking about?
Doesn't he put attack break on his first skill too? He crits?
That's okay.
Sounds like healing.
Oh, attack break and glancing.
Sounds
Double
like healing. That's healing. Damage prevented.
He's great against Artamiel.
But if you use the Wound Hack Spectra combo, that's a Seppi owned, that's proprietary to Seppi.
Exactly.
So.
If you use it, you have to, every time you use it, look up. Thank you, Seppi.
Send a kiss to Seppi.
Or down. You can do it down. At number 7, we finally leave TOA. Wait, you already spoiled.
Oh, sorry. I thought we were doing a thing where we just talk to each other about what the next one is.
So he already spoiled. Who's that number?
Oh, it's Darien, the Light Vagabond. Darien brings damage reduction on his passive. It's 20% damage reduced.
And he has Death Break and Attack Break. So extremely useful for raids. And back in the day, he was used even in Giants teams because he can keep your team alive. And I bet some of you guys still use him in Lab because he's amazing against the boss, keeping your team alive, bringing that Attack Break, that Death Break, and facilitating damage.
Even now, Darien still has a home on my support team for R5, so that way if for some reason I need a friend who's not there because he's graduated to BJ R5, then I can just raid by myself.
And this is also one of those moments where I say, if you don't get a BJ R5 team in a month, you're deleted from my friends list.
You've been saying that for years.
This is the last one. Not years, months.
A year.
A year, yeah. You're right.
Number 6 is Lynn. Is it
For
Lynn?
sure?
They can use Naomi instead.
Or the number 1 monster in this list that I shall not be named.
They could use
Don't say it!
Number 6, Jansen, because eventually you're going to have a BJR5 team. Even if you're a brand new player to Summoner's War and you don't know what a BJR5 team is yet, just lock Jansen, put him in your storage for right now. You'll come back to him later. You'll know what it is. You'll know what a BJR5 team is when it's time.
Exactly. 28 seconds, the best 28 seconds of your life. And number 5, we travel all the way back to TOA! Yeah, baby. Wait, this list very...
Dude, okay, so you're going to notice that TOA is really important as a new player because it's one of the easiest ways to get a bunch of great rewards.
Guaranteed rewards every month.
And they just accelerate your progression so much. It's the way that you get an extra Devilmon or 2 extra Devilmon if you can make
Rainbow
it
Mon to 6-star your monsters.
Right. Crystals,
Scrolls,
energy, everything is unique.
Stone, so you can get your Vanessa.
So on that note, number 5 is Mantura, the Dark Serpent. He brings defense break in AoE fashion along with dots and an AoE slow. So if you rune him on Despair, he couples quite well with maybe that Thrain and Spectra or maybe the Woundhawk that you already brought from this list.
And number 4, if you're a girl and you like vampires like Vertihill or werewolves, you should check out Joltam.
That was just roundabout enough.
Easy.
That nobody's going to know what you're talking about.
Easy. Save the Dark Werewolf, and here's why.
Joltan is extra important with the introduction of the Punisher's crit, and if you rune him on triple will, you'll have an even better shot at doing it. He applies a dot with his passive and defense breaks with every hit. That sounds awfully familiar.
And he's also an incredible monster for Guild Wars and Guild Siege. She's a perfect tank for light monsters to attack him. and he has a cool lead.
And that's one of the most important things about the Punisher's crit too. Because he's Dark Element, all the light monsters are going to be attacking him.
Including the Punisher.
From one boss to the other! We didn't talk about who was going to... We knew that we were going to say it at the same time, but we didn't say who would take it from there.
I can say it.
Yeah, go say it.
Number 3, Zinc. He brings AoE Death Break, AoE Attack Break. He blocks beneficial effects, which obviously reminds you of Steel Fortress.
Steel Fortress, baby.
Also, he's very good for TOA in combos with Basalt and Mantura. You can use these monsters together and also as an attack in Guild Wars because he deals damage based on defense, so the defense buff from Basalt would be very helpful for him.
If you're bringing your Zinc into the Steel Fortress, then we recommend ruining him on Violence, so that way that skill that blocks beneficial effects is available more often, especially because you're more than likely got at least a Raok on your team, so you can pull him and reduce skill cooldown times.
Or 2.
And if you're bringing him into TOA, then maybe look into Despair, because he does have 2 skills that do an AoE hit. Whoa, isn't this wild?
If this video was X time ago, this would probably be number 1. That's what I wanted to say. Who's number 2?
It's Bella Dion, the Light Inugami. Previously a number 1 contender for every single list out there. Bella Dion brings a huge heal on skill 3, a strip on skill 2, and a defense break on skill 1. This monster has so much utility flowing out of it, it's like a waterfall of good stuff.
Swiss Army knife of a monster. Death break, strip, heal, attack bar increase, plus he looks super cool. Look at this.
A top 5 2A video. How do you make an already amazing monster even better? I don't know, give him 5% more on his heal and a little attack bar manipulation. Dang, Skippy, that's what you do.
Anything. You can put him on anything. He's good. Can be broken, can be violent, speed HP, lots of accuracy.
Yeah. Before we reveal the number 1, we wanted to talk about a couple honorable mentions.
Just kidding.
It's only Miho.
That's all.
It's only Miho. That's all.
Dude.
Hold on, dude. I can't hear you. Let me put headphones in.
Okay.
Alright, what's up?
It's not just Miho, dude.
What do you mean it's not? Are you doing a bit?
Dude,
Is this a bit?
we have to save Shaman too.
We're talking about the second awakened Light Griffin, Shaman, the only monster on this list who has 2 N's in his name. Bella Dion comes in a close second with 2 L's.
Shaman is extremely useful in NB12 with even triple Ikaru comps dealing lots of damage because he deals 100% extra damage on the opposite element. He can help you a lot in the new TOA Hell mode because he brings a lot of damage to the table together with Spectra, killing the bosses really fast.
He's useful on every floor, but there are a few bosses in there that are Dark Elements, so that extra 100% bonus damage is really helpful. Shaman's a part of the honorable mentions next to Miho because he's still pretty late game. Just maybe admittedly not as late game as Miho because you can use him in more places than just RTA and Guild Wars.
You can ruin him with any type of set as long as it's on damage. Ideally attack, crit damage, attack, and maybe some HP for survivability. If you haven't never felt how to 1v4 people in RTA and you want to chase that feeling, lock her, put her on your storage, and wait when you're ready for it so she'll bring you lots of fun.
And we're specifically talking about the 2A version of Miho, so you're going to have to take her through the dungeons and the dimension hole a little bit before we're talking about the same Miho.
If you see any team that only has damage dealers that crit a lot, that's when you bring her in. Except Ciara.
You don't bring her, you don't bring her into bombs.
No. And at number 1, formerly on the shadow of his brother.
Oh my god.
He took over.
Wait, when did we...
And you want to know why Crow's a dark Inugami?
Because he's always living in the shadow of number 3, the light Inugami, Bella Dion. Wow.
Even though...
What an upset.
Even though you can use Bella Dion in more places, Crow takes the number 1 spot on this list because if you got him early, your early game just became that much easier.
Crow can accelerate your progression because he can replace traditional damage dealers that usually take at least a little more time invested in order to get them. For instance, Sigmaris. Sigmaris, of course, is still welcome in any GB12 team because of that significant HP leader skill and damage dealt based on max HP, but the thing is, Crow does not take nearly as much time to get as it does to fuse Sig.
Sig's still very important for TOA because he has the AoE freeze together with the single target damage that Evan was talking about. Crow, on the other hand, has its own death break, branding to facilitate his own damage, and he brings teammates with him. How cute is that?
Yeah, he's like a mini version of Rauk with a little bit of Sig mixed in. It's a big damage for little investment. If you're trying to incorporate Crow on your team and you're in the early game, then try ruining him on Fatal Blade. Once you reach mid to late game, put him on Rage or Vio and he'll do even better. Bonus! Lauren and Fran. These are monsters that you shouldn't just keep, you should actively pursue. Lauren we've talked about a lot, and you can get her from secret dungeons any day when the Hall of Light is open. And Fran you can get from the Ancient Coin Shop. And I guarantee you that if there's an event going on right now, then you have access to enough ancient coins to get one.
And these monsters are so special that it's impossible for you to get them through LD Scrolls, so don't waste any time and get them right now if you don't have them. And if you already have one Lauren, 2 or 3, it's always useful. One for BGIR 5, one for the dungeons, one for attacking in Guild Wars.
LF Lauren SD.
Run!